now that we've talked about all the glitches, let's move on to a weekend that wasn't filled with glitches, to be honest, other than the extra Pixar names, because the TV graphics actually worked this time around.
And they had to bloody work with all the bloody action that happened.
Exactly. And we saw some action. Let's get into Supercars. Obviously, round 2, the Melbourne Super Sprint. Alex, what were your thoughts of the Supercars action?
I'm still trying to remember what happened. Like, there was just so much. Honestly, there was so much chaos. Chaos is the word, Daniel. Although, in saying that, I've written in the notes, everyone forgot how to drive except for Brody Kostecki, who won 3 out of the 4 results and didn't hit anybody. Zach Bates. He didn't hit anybody. Yeah. Well, Zach Bates got destroyed again. So
Cooper Murray actually was the one who got taken out by a AAA every single time this weekend.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, you cannot make that up.
So yeah, Brody now also leads the championship. If you don't know, which is well deserved after by far the smoothest driver the whole weekend. I can't think of a driver who didn't get cleaned up or hit someone except for Brody Kostecki, who, by the way, was sick for half of it as well. He was throwing up literally on Thursday in the car.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that was a bit of a strategy because he lost about probably a kilo throwing up.
Weight reduction.
Had the extra couple tenths because I'm pretty sure he only got pole by like literally less than a tenth. So throwing up actually saved some weight.
But the fact he threw up at turn 9 as well, apparently, or something like that, which is, if you know what corner that is insane to even do. Because Frosty made a good point. Like, imagine sneezing in the car. How you're on the road.
That's bad enough.
Yeah, imagine that
that's
going that fast around that bend. Unbelievable. But yeah, what a result from Brody. Lucky Dogs pod delivering this weekend on Sunday. If anything, this weekend, unfortunately, Will Brown was delivered. A whole load of penalties, unfortunately. But Sunday was a really good day for him. That's for sure.
So, how we've been doing a little bit of, not bets, but, predictions.
Have we?
We've already got them all wrong. But a new one. Will Will Brown finish a race weekend, without a penalty? He's 2 for 2 already.
Well,
can he go to New Zealand and not get a penalty?
He got 45 seconds worth of penalties this weekend. By the way,
up to a minute for the whole year.
By the way, one of them was a 30-second penalty. The other was a 15. It wasn't like multiple 15s. It was genuinely one was a 30 for apparently a dangerous rejoin. By the way, I don't agree with that. That was play on. 3 into 1 never works out well, and it's just don't get me started on that. But the other incidents he had across the weekend, I do agree with. But he wasn't the only Red Bull to get into chaos this weekend. Brock Feeney, yes, he got a win, but he also left the weekend with the at the used dealership
with a potential destroyed car. Yeah, they are going to see. They're pretty confident he hasn't destroyed the chassis, which is quite surprising. Most of it's cosmetic, but they did say if they have to use the spare car, they will. But don't forget, by the time they get back to the track, they've only got about 5 days, they said, until they have to start shipping the cars to New Zealand. Because the next 2 rounds are a double header, 2 back-to-back weekends in a row on both sides of the island in New Zealand. So very short turnaround again for the supercar teams, and especially for Red Bull, and I'd throw in Erebus, who have to potentially rebuild a car in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty hectic. Also, speaking of poor luck, Mins just commented in. Aaron Cameron, our good mate Azakaza, being the head of the Blanchard Racing, what do they call it? Oh my God. Bandwagon. Thank you. Yep, thank you. That hurt. That was a tough weekend for being a BRT fan. That sucked. Really. Nothing Aaron Cameron does is safe.
No,
it's just the most unlucky driver and the one time he doesn't get cleaned up in race 4, he gets a puncture or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my god! And
Courtney is exactly right as well. Courtney's right. He has pace. He was fast this weekend.
Yeah,
but just you really feel for them because not even him as well as James Golding as well. You know the amount of issues he had is just really unlucky. You know, caught in other people's dramas. Although I've got to say, Aaron Cameron definitely struggled this weekend in certain parts, especially Sector 3, after, I think, Turn 11 or something like that. He always kept losing positions there. But there was one point where he just lost 5 positions, all in one go. Now, that's a painful feeling when you're racing. You know, you're tempted to give up at that point. And they've gone now from 6th to 8th in the standings, unfortunately.
Which is so sad, because if you look at just qualifying results, they'd be top 3 easily. Yeah. And they just get cleaned up in every race. Speaking of cleaned up, Cooper Murray. Oh boy.
I don't know what he did this weekend.
Just unlucky, man.
What did he do? Did he step under did he walk under a ladder while looking at a black cat and stepping on a cracked mirror? Like,
it wasn't even just this weekend. Practice 1 in Sydney had a power steering failure. Sorry, race 1.
He didn't even make the first 5 minutes in practice 1 this weekend.
He also had an issue. I think it actually was power steering this week as well.
Yeah,
you're right. I feel sorry for Cooper, Azakaza, Zach Bates. Which also, you know what makes it worse for Zach Bates?
Yeah,
Jack LeBrock is genuinely up there. And
no, he did really well.
I'm going to go through it, but I'm pretty sure he finished top 10 in every race.
Yeah, no, he did really. He was fighting Feeney.
I've got the results up here. So
was he fighting Feeney or Brown at one point in the top 5 or top 6? Sorry.
Oh, I apologize. He wasn't even top 10 the first race. Actually, Cooper Murray was. That's funny.
Well, there you go. He actually finished a race. Can't be right.
Yeah, only one. Then Jack LeBrock was 6th. Then he was 10th. And then the last race was 4th. So, that's just insane. Also, shout out to Jaden Ojeda, who finished 7th in the last race. That was very impressive.
Did you see? Speaking of him, did you see? The crash with we'll get into the crash soon, but did you see that Declan Fraser dodged everything only by a smidge? It was pretty chaotic. Got hit by
Heimgardner still, but he got away with it.
But back to Jaden Ojeda, he from crashing out in practice and missing out on both qualifyings on Thursday to drive as well as he did. I think he moved up to 13th or something from last, which was really impressive. For race 1 or 2, either of them. But overall, his pace this weekend has been really good. Obviously, he has been around there in a Formula 4 car back in the day. So he definitely knows his way around Albert Park, but that was the older layout. Obviously, he hasn't been around the new layout in these cars yet until now. One thing I want to talk about, Alex, and you're going to get pretty fired up by this because you always do. Qualifying on Saturday. That's right, Saturday.
Yep.
Ryan Wood.
Yep.
Almost. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Let me say my piece before. I'll let you charge up, let you warm up, because we're going to be here for about half hour now. Basically, if you don't know, Ryan Wood had some gear issues in the first qualifying. His car would like a sensor issue or something simple, something electronic. So he missed out on his first run. His second run, he was able to go out, and he was on for a good lap, by the way. That car looked really planted, I must say. But unfortunately, he had to abort that lap because everyone, including their dog's neighbour's cat, was so slow heading into the final corner, all trying to get track position. Now, keep in mind, there was 10 seconds left of the session. No one was going to cross the line at that point. So it was a joke. That was an absolute joke. Really, it shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening in this sport. And we've seen it so many times. Like Tassie, we see it so many times there. But Ryan Wood was so lucky to not take anyone out. Alex, go.
All right. Boom. No. Very good points. I agree with everything you said. The beef that I have with this whole incident, and I can't add much more than what I'm about to say, he was on camera the entire lap. There was no one else on a hot lap for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 120 seconds, where, I don't know, an engineer might say, hey, Woody's on a hot lap. Get the fuck out of the way. Like, just seriously, it was brain dead. It was similar. I was getting flashbacks to the Bathurst 12 hour where that car was sat there for 20 seconds and no one thought to put a yellow flag out or something. But also, genuinely, when that camera changed at turn 12, when it went from onboard to seeing around the corner, and Chad Naylor, the only part that I kind of liked about his commentary this week, you couldn't even see him in the shot. There were that many cars in frame. How he didn't, like Bryce said, how he didn't clean up 5 cars. Thomas Randall was the one I was seriously waiting for him to rear end the crap out of him and destroy both cars. Oh, what a mess. So then, Woody had to start last, unfortunately. And then, like you said, the worst part was none of those cars in frame actually made it to the line.
No, and they weren't going to with that pace anyway. No matter if Ryan Wood was there or not, they would have never finished their lap. Or start their lap, I should say.
A quick question, or not question, quick point about the qualifying. Do you remember the last episode we did? I harped on about the fact that you might remember when I say it. I mentioned the fact that the qualifying for some dumb reason is 12 and 8 minutes. Like 8 minutes is insane.
Yeah.
So there actually is an explanation from this. So they interviewed Tim Edwards, who's the director, about this. Roland Dane, here we go. Bryce has beat me to it. Roland Dane, who's now the principal of Premier Racing, went up to complain because he was saying the teams in the back half of the field are disadvantaged by the enormously long pit lane because of that. Not only do they have to go through theirs, they have to go through the Formula One paddock as well. And all of it's at 40 kilometers now. So he was complaining the fact that, especially, I can't remember which one it was, but he was saying how the back teams don't get an extra lap like the front teams, which, let's be honest, because you're at the back of the pit lane, it means you haven't done very well. Now, with the, what do they call it? Active pit lane, you can call it, where each round the order changes. Yeah. That obviously is not going to help, but it obviously gives you the opportunity to do well. Because years ago, it was purely based on the Constructors' Championship. So therefore, the whole year you were screwed in that position. Whereas now with the active pit lane, it can change. As you said, Blanchard have gone from 6th now to 8th now because of their unfortunate weekend. But they said the 8-minute qualifying session, the reason why that's so short is because it literally only gives everyone 1 lap. Now, what I'm proposing is, why don't they just have a 1-lap quali? So, send a car out in pit lane.
And they're all only allowed to 15, do 1 lap.
Yeah, 15 seconds at a time. No one can get in the way, so that means you destroy the Ryan Wood saga. Right? You do a warm-up lap. You have a set minimum speed. You warm up your tyres. You do your hot lap. You come in, done. If you're so short on time, why not do something a bit different?
So you're thinking of a full field shootout?
Yes.
I like that.
Just one.
I don't mind that.
You like it?
As a GP special, you know, like, because obviously not as slow as the shootouts, because, you know, they have pauses. Like, I like the idea of them going out, like, as soon as they cross the line to start their lap, instantly the car behind them goes. Or something like that. You just keep rotating through. I like that idea because it'll be a lot more, it'll actually, funny enough, be quicker to do that.
I think, Bryce is saying it won't work with lack of timing. I think it'll be quicker. I think genuinely you get it done in 6 minutes.
Supra made history this weekend.
They did.
You know? Obviously, Ryan Wood missed out on the qualifying that time. But before that, on the Friday, he got the manufacturer their first podium in 2026 with the Supra. So, amazing result. I didn't think the Supra would get a podium this early in the season. So, to see them up there, I'm really happy.
Yeah, well, we said last episode too that the engine was the part that was lacking, and since then they all got new engines apparently,
They did.
and they'd all been dynoed, all 5 of them, which was impressive because there was a short turnaround for this race as well. And it worked. Like, that's not massively drastic, but it's competitive.
But, let's talk about, I guess, the crash, I guess, on the Sunday morning. Really early race, 9:40 in the morning for us, 10 a.m. for them. That was interesting. What was your take?
Ryan Wood also involved in another 888 crash. It's quite all right. Also, I loved the banter online. So Scott Pye was posting everything about the weekend on Apex, and the amount of shit he copped. He's like, "You're only posting about WAU stuff. What about 888?" And it was just dumb. It was just because he's a 888 driver. I think it's really shit, honestly, of Scott Pye to do some of the stuff he does. It's not on. Anyway, that's off topic. But Ryan Wood and Kai Allen had contact prior to the crash, which then led to the crash. The only part I'm not happy about, well, I'm not happy about the crash, but the part that bothered me was the fact that Feeney fucking just let it rip and smoked. Smoked out the whole area. Can't stand when that happens. Obviously, it's instinct. I'm not blaming him for it, but it's just really low. But like I said, it's in the moment. I'm sure they said he tried to do it to get out of the way, but then as he spun toward the inside of the corner of turn 2, that's when
Cooper Murray was there, minding his own business as well, just dodging. He's like, I'm on here, I'm making up some spots, and next minute, bang, gets a load of Red Bull in his mouth.
I don't know. I just think the whole weekend, I think something was bound to happen like that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the whole weekend, everyone was just getting bloody.
There was something about it, wasn't it?
It was just out of control, man. It was literally like everyone was fighting for a championship.
Something was in the air.
There were spins down in 21st place. Joe Stewart got spun by Jackson Walls. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
It's all happening. It's all happening. And then Will Brown spins Aaron Cameron around as well for good measure. I'm
like, you guys just trying to make up for the fact you didn't have a race last year on Sunday?
Yeah, even Feeney, even Brody nudged Feeney off at the chicane as well. So it was all happening. But how good was the racing though? Absolutely loved it. I love all this chaos and drama. It really, for the first time in a while, it genuinely felt like the OG V8 Supercar days of how much drama we saw back in the day. It was really cool. I really loved every single bit of it. And for anyone that says supercars are boring, obviously are watching the race paused because there is just so much to unpack this weekend. And I completely agree with that crash. It was a racing incident. It was just anything, it was just drama. Ryan Wood and Kai Allen came together and just, touched wheels, got punctures. You can't really turn when you got a puncture, and Feeney was an innocent bystander at that point. But yeah, that spin he had afterwards, where he floored it. In hindsight, he probably wouldn't have done that, knowing what would have happened. But you make a good point. You don't normally think at the moment, Go on.
Well, sorry to cut you off, but Bryce has said apparently there was a stuck throttle, which caused the
was it though?
The smoke. I don't know. That's just
I could be wrong. You could be right, but I have to do some more research into that.